Hello world, and welcome to an episode on Sacred Earth Essentials. Your hostess Stephanie here, with a little caveat for the day and a card reading. I haven't been pulling any of the oracle or tarot cards in a few months, and so today I am going to get back into it with you all. Just as a little freebie, a little added pleasure and insight to your day. So how about that election, folks? So on Sacred Earth Essentials, where we believe the earth is sacred and essential, and you are too, we also recognize human rights as well as earth rights. So part of what I talk about and educate about are both agricultural and herbal practices, self-care practices, psychotherapy, but also human rights and social justice. And I like to weave in some fun in there. I have decided that my new title, my company is also going to be Director of Happiness, because what could possibly be more fun than being the Director of Happiness? Of health and wellness, and being able to get to know the employees and cater to their health and wellness, and helping everyone be happy as reasonably as possible in the workplace. So there's a comparison here in my mind between how we take care of our own self, our health, and our happiness, as well as how we cultivate that and that consciousness in the workplace, and then how that can carry over into the larger political realm. And that despite our religious my dog Yoda wants to get out of the house. He's ringing his little doggy bell. Or political differences, we can still come to some common core agreements and values and still respect the human rights and dignity of all, which is the same for all humans, regardless of their belief system or the way that they look or their genetics, for example. So I don't know about you, but today feels charged with stress and anxiety for me. I finally did go and vote, which is both a gift and a point of frustration for me, which I'll discuss here. And that's because I obviously respect and advocate for democracy and have a deep appreciation for all those who've gone before me, who have made it possible for us to vote as women and as people in groups that have been and continue to be marginalized. And I loved learning about, I did not learn about it until college, the Three Sisters, the conference at Seneca Falls with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, for example, and Susan B. Anthony, and have a great respect for those women who have stood up for women's rights historically and continue to do so, both here in the United States and internationally. And as we begin to learn about human rights together, and I begin to educate you all more on what that is, you'll see how on a global level we still have a lot of room for improvement for that. So unfortunately here Yoda needs to go out, and I don't want to cut the video short, so you're probably going to see my house, but here's for real life, and here's to transparency when making videos. Come on, buddy. It's called Mollywood. I'm just kidding. Instead of Hollywood, like my Hollywood, my little home video here, it's a reality show where I'm the one-woman band. So thank you for your patience with me. I think one of the unintended positive consequences of COVID is that we have all become a little more open to working from home and being able to show our foibles and our quirks and our real life. And I do have pants on. It's, a COVID joke, right? All right, thank you for that. a moment of silence, centering, and back to the conversation. So, human rights. And today is a day where how we vote reflects our stance on human rights, locally and internationally. And I am not a political science expert, despite having studied it for many years, both inside of the classroom as well as at home. And I am a strong believer in experiential learning, and that a degree does not necessarily make you intelligent or capable. However, I love studying and have also gone that route, as well as independent learning and independent study and experiential learning in many areas. And one of the things that I've learned about is this concept of pani circo, bread and circus. That when you give the people the bare minimum, bread and a little entertainment, circus, that they don't always pay as much attention to everything else that's going on. And despite our differences, we can still begin to pay more attention, and we can still begin to educate ourselves and others and open our hearts and minds to different belief systems, different ways of thinking about things, and finding a way to respect human rights for all while maintaining our own personal integrity. And I also feel stressed on days like this because I also recognize that although my vote matters, there are still challenges within the system potentially, if you believe in corruption or not, that may or may not prevent my vote from counting in the way that I would like for it to count. And on top of that, we vote based upon who is running, and sometimes those candidates don't align 100% with our belief system. So we have to go through the list and find all the information that we can about each candidate. And so when we apply this bread and circus method to politics and democracy, when you keep the people busy with survival, barely able to pay their bills, worried about COVID, worried about wars, all of this fear, worried about Twitter acquisitions and God knows what else, whether it's really relevant or not. And that when we're in this state of stress, in this chronic fight, flight, or freeze, regardless of whether or not a tiger is attacking us, it takes away from our ability to study. It takes away from our ability to understand, to empathize, to be calm. It increases the likelihood of conflict and misunderstanding. And again, this is a perfect example of how things like meditative practices or yoga or going in nature and just making a conscious effort to calm oneself down, both through the breath as well as through other practices. For some people, they utilize prayer. And that when we are discussing human rights, one of the excellent things about human rights are that it's non-secular. And so that human rights, I guess that could be debatable. Human rights are about all human beings having equal rights, and that shouldn't, theoretically speaking, have anything to do with religion. And it still boggles my mind, and often when we're learning about things that upset us, some of us have a tendency to avoid diving into those topics. And I really wanted to shout out or say my respects to Stephen Harvey. I was watching a clip from one of his videos the other day, and I really appreciate his work about how when you're when you're speaking your truth, you have to speak your truth, that sugarcoating it doesn't particularly help anyone. And so when we are discussing human rights, I think that it's relevant to recognize that it's not necessarily a sweet topic, that maybe the sweetness is in the justice, the sweetness is in the love, the brotherly, sisterly love that we have for each other, regardless of all of those factors that separate us, and that we can find common ground. And I think that we are capable of doing that at a global level, a little better than what's happening right now. But that's going to take each of us doing our small part, right? Whether it's that vote, or whether it's being more proactive, whether it's what we do for work, whether it is writing books, how we treat someone at the grocery line. I've met some amazing people grocery shopping, and I enjoy being kind to people, and I have my bad days also. But even on a bad day, when I'm kind to someone who doesn't expect it, and they leave the interaction happier than they were before the interaction, then that is a win for me. And that when we begin to heal ourselves on the inside, then that reverberates outward, and that butterfly effect occurs. And so maybe we might feel, totally overwhelmed and overtaken and daunted by the big things that are happening in the world right now, like the war or continued crimes against children or elderly people, or people not being able, to eat, for example, which, by the way, my idea to solve world hunger, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there so that it's in the video sphere, the digital Akashic records, that if we divided up a particular amount of money between every major city in the world and built a food center in every city of the world, even a small amount would make a difference. And the total budget for this project of being able to do that would be under a particular budget. So I had done the math at one point, and that even something as small as $10,000 per city per world to get something like a community garden started, and then to have a centralized not-for-profit organization that manages this and sends people out to teach and really get it down organized. Like when you think about how bees organize their hive work, or when even ants and how they organize their work, they're very efficient, right? And so sometimes we need to be open and non-linear and receptive, and in our what some people might call more feminine or receptive energies. And other times it's important to be, sharp and to the point and linear, and to have a plan and to be organized and to do things in a repeated fashion, which is often what they will tell you as well when you're building a business, that it needs to be repeatable and it needs to be consistent. And it would be really cool to do that with gardening, with food, because then you would get these really unique markets and ways of each major city being able to individualize this based on their terroir and what seeds, what type of plants grow there the best. Which reminds me, COP27 and the argument, thank goodness, for Earth rights and the climate crisis being a human rights issue. So that's part of what we do here at Sacred Earth Essentials, is balance that nurturing, loving, self-love and self-care, as well as giving voice to the more challenging issues in life that we are facing, and to connect the relationship between how we treat and care for ourselves and how we treat and care for each other and the earth. So softening the challenging issues with that compassion and unconditional love that must be nurtured and cared for. So thank you for listening. And the other thing that I wanted to use today for is to announce my upcoming program that I've been getting ready to roll out and I'm really excited about. And it is the first one that I will be offering. It begins on January 1st, and I will have a payment plan for this, and it is a Self-Love Bootcamp. It's a comprehensive, brief intervention, small women's group holistic self-love bootcamp. So how does love and a bootcamp go together? Well, sometimes when we're hitting a wall in our life and really feeling challenged with our self-love, self-care, our feelings of worthiness, and needing something that's more effective than a long-term traditional talk psychotherapy, something that adds in a daily support piece, a group, as well as some holistic elements, then you might be interested in this program. And so when we're talking about self-love, we're talking about how we feel about ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, and the actions that we take to provide for our minds, hearts, bodies, and souls. And sometimes we have these reoccurring patterns like, why do I get stuck on that? Why is that such a hard thing for me? And so we'll be diving into that in the Self-Love Bootcamp. There will also be a self-care bootcamp that is more focused on physical self-care, whereas the Self-Love Bootcamp is going to have a strong component on that emotional, mental relationship with oneself, and then how that carries, over to the other parts of our being. And so what is included in the Self-Love Bootcamp, and how much is it, and where can you sign up for it? All right, I'm really excited about this because I've been planning it for a long time and I'm getting ready to roll it out. And so it will only be open starting, you can pay and sign up now, but it begins January 1st for the first month. It's a 30-day program. And you also will gain access to my Sacred Selves VIP circle. That lifetime access to that support group is a part of the package. It includes five total one-on-one sessions with me, 4 weekly sessions that are a holistic psychodynamic therapy, where we get to dive deep into what is bothering you, what the current block is. Because you might be a busy professional or a busy mom, or maybe you've done a lot of traditional psychotherapy and you're not interested in that at this point, but you really need something that's going to provide you with like a rapid transformation and some aha moments that you may have not been experiencing in what you've tried previously. So this program is not a insurance billable program, it's a private pay program, and here is why. Because we are going to incorporate some aspects into this program that are not necessarily covered by traditional insurance. And so in addition to the 4 individual weekly sessions that are focused on the brief psychodynamic and health coaching intervention, we will also have 1 full session that includes an astrology reading. So you will give me your birth information and I will provide you with a printed packet of information overviewing your natal chart, your astrology natal chart, and specifically looking at what areas of your chart might be creating the blockages in the self-love aspect of your life. And how we love ourselves affects how we love and receive love from other people, and can also affect our success in the workplace. Because if we're not loving ourselves and believing in our worth and our work and our integrity and our ability to do what we love, then it's going to negatively impact our outputs and what we are investing in our work and how we are going after opportunities. All right. So as you can see, I don't have a hard time speaking. I have a lot to say. So we've got the 4 regular sessions. We have the astrology chart reading, which is about a 3-hour total package. It's an hour of me preparing your chart, and then 2 hours of being able to dive into that with you. We will also be completing an herbal self-care plan, where we will look over what aspects of your mental, emotional, or physical health may be boosted by some traditional herbal remedies. And so then we will create a really beautiful self-care herbal plan for you. You will get a wake up message every morning, potentially a phone call, and the morning message will include a meditation and a journal prompt, as well as a daily affirmation. You will also receive a self-love care package, which will include, depending on where you live and what your preferences are, either a CBD, THC, or regular herbal self-love package that's going to include a massage oil, a candle, a tincture, a tea, and a face cream. So we will also be doing once a week as a group together, so you will also receive the group session. We will be working on an art project together that includes your astrology chart, and again, you will be included with lifetime access to the Sacred Selves VIP circle. And so the total value of that, all of that together, is $1,250 for 1 month of doing a deep dive into self-love and transformation. So I will be offering that. That's if you were to pay for every service individually. So for the package deal, I'll be offering it for $1,100. You have a payment plan option for that. And again, the first boot camp doesn't start until January 1st, which gives you some time to ask questions and to make a down payment and get ready. I'm only offering 10 spots because it's a very intimate setting. It's a very intimate group, and we're going to be talking about some of the deepest, most tenderest parts of ourselves together. I would like to keep it into a small group. And so even if you walk away just feeling more at ease, developing friendships with other women, then that's a win when it comes to the social aspect. And hopefully at least one good friend, because it is proven scientifically that we do have this biological need to belong, and that when we have healthy relationships with other people and strong friendships and a support network, that it helps our mental, emotional, and physical health to thrive. All right. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please check out sacredearthessentials.com. Check out my Linktree link, or you can also find me on Psychology Today and Simple Practice. And so those meetings will be HIPAA compliant, and everything that we say and discuss in those meetings will be confidential. So you can rest assured that what you share with me, as well as what you share in the group, is confidential within the legal bounds of confidentiality. Correct? Right. So I'm really excited to offer that. It's what I've been working on for years, and why I have a multidisciplinary approach to what I do in health and wellness. And within that herbal self-care plan, we will also discuss cannabis if that is something that you are interested in. So it will come along with a complimentary cannabis consultation to kind of put a little bit of icing on that cake. Healthy icing, like beet icing, the beet juice, right? But you could do it with lion's mane too. If Charisse made lion's mane ice cream, then I bet you could make a mushroom powdered icing, for any of you interested in that. And another super exciting workshop that I want to share, and then I will pull a couple cards and let you all go, because this is a long video. Thank you for watching this far. All right, really excited. I'm gonna have to do an individual video for this too. Cannabis, cacao, and breasts. Oh my. So I am offering on Friday, December 9th, a women's only if you are born with biological breasts, a women's workshop. It will be 3 hours from 6 to 9 on Friday night. We can do it online. You're welcome online. We'll be doing it virtually, as well as I can have up to 20 women in my home if you are interested in coming to my home for this workshop. And if you are here in person, it will cost extra because I will supply you with what you need. If you are doing it from home, I will give you a list of necessary supplies and ingredients prior to the live on December 9th. And if you sign up for it and then something happens and you cannot attend, everyone who pays will also receive a copy of that. And again, this will be confidential, and I will be showing you how to do a self-care massage on your breasts using cannabis infused coconut oil, raw cacao, rose essential oils, and potentially more. You can also use extra virgin olive oil. It is the traditional method that I learned from one of my curandera shawoman teachers, who also happens to have a PhD in, I believe, ethnopharmacology, and her name is Rocio Alecran, and she is the author of this hummingbird deck that I'm going to pull a couple cards from, because after the stress of the voting and everything leading up to that, I think it would be nice to be a little lighthearted and infuse our day with some joy that these hummingbirds represent. And so Rocio, the first time I met Rocio was before I was pregnant with my son, and it was in 2010 at Sage Mountain Herbal Retreat Center. And it was the women's retreat for women in shamanism, and it was with Doña Enriqueta Contreras de Oaxaca, Rosemary Gladstar, and of the universe, and Rocio Alecran of Ecuador. And I'm just teasing. Rosemary grew up in California, and when I met her, she was living here in Vermont. And so the aspect that we learned from Rocio was about doing limpias, which I will show you in this 3-hour workshop. So you can also bring a bouquet of some flowers, or if you don't want to spend money on flowers or can't access any type of sustainably grown flowers, you can get branches off of some evergreen trees or some of the other softer plants that may still be out in your yard. Goldenrod would work as well. And the other thing that we learned was about breast massage and the importance of massage and exercise for breast health and the lymphatic system, because unlike the circulatory system, which the heart pumps, the blood through the body, the lymphatic system needs movement and massage. And as breast cancer has become, a tragedy for women, and we hold our emotions also in our breasts, if you're looking at it from a shamanism perspective, if you're looking at it from that curandera perspective. And because we're, living in such a stressful world with many sustos, many little traumas, women can often, and men as well, hold those emotions in the heart chakra, in the breasts area. And we don't get to learn very much these things in health class growing up. So if you sign up for the workshop, 3 hours, $42 with no materials, $69 with materials, women only, totally confidential. I will teach you how to make the cacao oil blend and how to add cannabis to that blend if you're interested, and then how to do the breast massage to yourself based on what I learned from Rocio Alecran. And we will talk about breast health, both in a physical and an emotional way. And this is not to be substituted for medical care from your primary health physician. And if you have breast cancer, you may not want to do this, and you may want to check in with your doctor first, and we can always have a private conversation if you would like to learn more about it before you sign up. So again, just the 2 major things that I'm offering coming up are starting January 1st, the Self-Love Bootcamp. You'll be seeing some flyers coming out about that. It'll be on my Linktree and on one of my websites. And then, on December 9th, super excited to offer Cannabis, Cacao, and Breasts, oh my. And so if you have a problem with nudity, or if you're a clinical client of mine, I cannot offer you that service because I will be demonstrating it on my own breasts. And for anyone who does pay and participate or come to the dinner and breast health party at my house for women, it is not to be shared. It is confidential, and you can sign the paperwork for it prior to joining. All right, so now you know what to expect. Cannabis, cacao, and breasts, oh my, and the Self-Love Bootcamp starting on January 1st, and that will be running monthly. And then beginning in February, I will also be adding the Self-Care Bootcamp, which focuses more on the physical activity and includes meditation videos as well as yoga videos and 4 introductory to herbalism videos. And that will be offered for $777. And again, find more details on my web pages. So excited to have you here. Thank you for your time and attention. A couple light-hearted messages from the hummingbirds today. Cacao with chocolate, right? It's the protector. Theobroma cacao, the food of the gods. So not only is it delicious to ingest, but is also medicinal, both internally as well as externally. And so it's really high in antioxidants. We'll be using raw cacao, not milk chocolate, and organic ingredients preferably. And this helps to break up cysts within the breasts and helps to flush out those extra free radicals and to really apply that strong antioxidant effect. And again, cacao has the MAOIs in it and also boosts our mood. So when combining that with cannabis, whether you utilize CBD or a variety that has THC, depending on your needs and preferences, you get this really beautiful blend, symphony of plants. I think that chocolate and cannabis go very well together. So we have chocolate coming out, cacao as the protector, and the hummingbird number 22, Florisuga meyevora. So today, after election day, go mow down on some raw cacao if you like. I mean, the raw stuff's bitter. I've been drinking lately a hot cacao blend that includes ashwagandha and cinnamon, reishi, a little bit of rose, and it has been divine. It's also an aphrodisiac. So if you're finding that you're experiencing low libido, if you're finding that you're experiencing even getting cold easily, making a naughty cacao with some spice in it, as well as damiana I added, which is also an aphrodisiac. You can really get that blood flowing and add in that massage, and maybe you have access to some chocolate Thai, and you can just, that's what I would do today, is after the stress of election and everything else that's going on in the world, really give thanks and bless yourself with some Theobroma cacao, some light-hearted hummingbird energy, and then we also have, to go with it, the danza espiritual, the spiritual dance. So do some dancing. Wow, it sounds like a party. Eat some chocolate, and some spicy chocolate. Turn on your favorite music. Think like the hummingbird. We also have this plant on here, Neorudolphia volobius. Spend some time in nature. The name of the hummingbird on that side was Anthrocothorax viridis, which makes me think of veritas, which means truth. The truth shall prevail. So get some cacao. Put on your favorite music. Think light-hearted hummingbird, sweet thoughts. Know that you are protected, that our human rights are protected and are continuing to be protected, as well as the earth, and that we will do all we can to protect and to reclaim and regenerate both our earth and human rights. do a little dance. Longevity, longanimidad. And there's it looks like kind of similar to an aloe plant. And it's Hummingbird portoricensis. So then some soothing. You can have some nice soothing, maybe take a nice hot bath and coat yourself with something that contains some aloe in it, or even drinking aloe juice. And so longanimity. So cacao, dance, and something soothing, and thinking long term with that word long in there, like how long and hard people have fought to get us to where we are today in the United States, despite the challenges that we still face as a community. And then thinking about further the big picture, the long view, about how what we do today, however small it may be, like the hummingbird, makes a difference, right? And that with the hummingbirds, their wings are the only bird that can fly backwards. And so again, that reminder that as much as we love hummingbirds, we're not hummingbirds, and we can't go back in time, but we can definitely move forward and apply that lighthearted, joyful energy of the hummingbirds, and staying positive and paying attention to the little things, and that the little things matter. And that when we have these days that we might feel like we cannot handle, to remember to enjoy those little things, whether it be, some cacao and cannabis, something soothing, some aloe, staying hydrated, and dancing. And when in doubt, dance. All right, folks, thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out the Self-Love Bootcamp. It's going to be a thing from now on. And I will offer this cannabis, cacao, and breasts on my workshop, and we will see how it goes. All right, folks, don't forget, the earth is sacred, and you are too. Mwah.